Re mora re mora re re mora re mora re re mora re mora re re mora re mora re.
Evolutionary Outlook on Life by Swami Ramananda. A sincere keenness to understand the meaning of life, an earnest desire to make the best of it, and a sympathetic awareness of life around indicate that one is ready for the path of conscious self-endeavor in evolution. The following is addressed to those who are so. Chapter 1. Life. Of the greatest moment is our outlook on life. The way we look at it and accept it determines whether we shall be happy or miserable. Upon this also depends how much we shall be able to get out of life. If you consider life to be a place for enjoyment, you are mistaken. You are heading for troubles. It is not so, and you will be disillusioned. Pain follows pleasure as night follows day. If a pleasure is prolonged, nerves lose their sensibility, and it ceases to be pleasant. A pleasure remains no longer a pleasure when one gets habituated to it. It means that you cannot perpetuate the moment of pleasure. In the very mouth it turns to ashes and dust. Pleasure is ephemeral, it cannot be stored up. But we can have intenser and still intenser pleasure to keep up the sense of pleasantness for long, you may think. That is not always possible. Where it is possible, it debases. The pursuit of pleasures for their own sake means the sacrifice of higher and finer capabilities of man. To live for pleasure is to live a slave and to desire, to the lowest in man. It cannot be allowed for long. Such a man is shaken out of his sweet dreams by the society or his own organism, revolting against such an existence. It is the unfortunate few who can live such a life. But do they live? Their life is a stinking story of stagnation, a dreary chapter of dull pleasantries. Those who have an intimate experience of such a life know it. Is life meant for achievement? Is it meant to struggle and to achieve, to be greater, wiser, and nobler than one's fellow men? This is seemingly a noble but a wrong ideal. It betrays a misunderstanding of life. It smacks of the heat of youthful blood. It has not the sobriety of experience. It is due to shortness of vision. Desire is poor mistress to serve. It can never be satiated. At first a willing victim, you will cry when its iron tentacles are upon you and you cannot escape. Why should you think of being greater and shining above your brethren? You think that in fact there is none to equal you in this wide world. You are peerless. That is your ego befooling you. Beware. It is in league with that demoness desire. Do not fall a prey, O Blessed One. Know that you cannot stand apart the rest of humanity. You need to learn more of sympathy. You must have more love for the creatures of your Lord. This that you think of is the road to tyranny. This is the road which the great conquerors, Alexander and Timur, took. Beware. It is ambition. To live to be clean and pure, to live to attain to spiritual heights, to attain powers superhuman, this may enthuse you. But be cautious. It is desire stirring within you in the guise of purity. It is the ego which is seeking fulfillment in spiritual achievements. It is dangerous. You must understand life before you can know what to live for. You must know what life is meant for before you can determine your goal. Life has a plan, and it is evolution. You are a spark of the divine on your way to perfect manifestation of divinity. From the elemental you have been up to the human stage, through vegetable and animal existence by the master of evolution. Superhuman status awaits you. The brilliant future of God consciousness, of being one with the transcendental divine in his fullness, is yours by birthright. The evolutionary forces are taking you on towards that highest fulfillment. Such a great purpose life has got. Do not trifle with it. Life is a school of experience which is indispensable for further growth. The Master of Evolution has placed us here because here we can learn the necessary lessons, qualify, and pass on from the human to superhuman levels of consciousness. We must have experience of every sort, of pleasure and pain, of good and evil, of being man and woman, of various races and climes, before we can pass on, wise enough to take the next step. Life is a school of experience, and the various experiences have value insofar as they help us in our march. Pleasures and pains do not count by themselves. Both come and pass away. They are valuable in the degree they awaken our consciousness and help us in our onward march. For that, pain may be more valuable than pleasure. It generally purifies him, and pleasure too has its value. Struggle is necessary. The more fully we can live, the more experience do we have, and the quicker we can pass on. Karma is indispensable. We cannot escape activity entirely. We are forced to work, and we have to live. And through karma we can further our evolution. To work with the proper attitude is the way to aid the evolutionary process. To do this, we must work for duty. We must work for worship. We must make of our work an offering at the feet of the Master of Evolution. Work is the path of evolution. Accept work that way. Pleasure will come in life, and so will pain. There will be success as also failure. Life with its various aspects is an inescapable reality. You will have to accept it. If you know that it is indispensable for your growth, you will accept it cheerfully. You will not protest. you will welcome it. By doing so, you can have the most out of it. If you weep and protest, you will waste your time and energy in vain grief. You cannot escape. That is dead sure. Why be foolish and waste precious moments of a noble existence in unwise protestation? The Master of Evolution has much larger vision than ours. He understands the problems of our evolution much better than we do. He understands them with all their ins and outs. Our circumstances and experiences are his dispensation. We have pains because he wills, and he wills them because they are necessary for our growth. He is a merciful Father, a kind and loving Mother, not a cruel tyrant. If he were otherwise, how could we ever exist? But we cannot understand the utility of every suffering, you may object. That does not mean that it has none. You must grow before you can understand it. Your inner being must be clean before you can know it. You must be rid of desire and gain an inner balance before you can have the eyes to see. Be not impatient. Behave not like a foolish, stubborn child. The time will come when you will understand it all, but you must be ready to reach the top of the hill yonder. Know where you stand. Be ready to work out your evolution step by step, every inch of the blessed ground. Accept bravely the Dharma of your present. Through desire and ego you will have to pass, and they will bring both joys and sorrows as you pass through them. You must see the road ahead. You cannot rise above them all at once. It is no shame that you are at a lower rung of the ladder today. Everybody must be there someday. Those that have mounted the ladder stood one day where you stand today. Feel not small, and hate not those below you. Life is the school of evolution. We have to learn here easy as well as difficult lessons. We cannot escape them even if we would. Willy-nilly we must march on. Why not accept cheerfully this privilege of being in this great grand school? Accept cheerfully the great destiny of transcendental fulfillment which invites you. Be happy that you are in the hands of the great Master, the Master of Evolution. Work, because to work is to tread the path of your growth. Work, because by working you can accomplish the Master's task. Trifle not with life in seeking ever new thrills. Pervert it not by seeking foolish self-aggrandizement. Kill it not in vain protestation. Life is precious. Beware, O child of divinity. Beware, O son of immortality. Jai Shri Ram.